This message by Donald Trump was put out after Jack Smith asked the Supreme Court to answer about presidential immunity, but before the Supreme Court agreed to answer that question. Here is what came out of Trump's spokesman. Statement from Trump's spokesman on deranged Jack Smith filing with the Supreme Court. Crooked Joe Biden's henchman, deranged Jack Smith, is so obsessed with interfering in the 2024 presidential election with the goal of preventing President Trump from retaking the Oval Office, as the president is poised to do, that Smith is willing to try for a Hail Mary by racing to the Supreme Court and attempting to bypass the appellate process. Deranged may need to be reminded that the Supreme Court has not been kind to him. So if the Supreme Court hasn't been kind to him and Trump thinks that, the Supreme Court isn't going to rule in Jack Smith's favor, shouldn't he actually be celebrating the fact that he's now going to get away with everything? But he knows better. Because why? Because if the Supreme Court, even if they wanted to give Trump dictator-level powers where he's not guilty of anything, he can do whatever crime he wants while president, there's an issue. The current president is Joe Biden, and he would get whatever powers the president has. So my assumption is that Trump had this fantasy in his head where he could delay all of these trials until he's in office, and then once in office, he could then have the Supreme Court essentially make him God Emperor. And that's not going to happen. Now, as we go. As President Trump has said over and over, this prosecution is completely politically motivated. It is an unprecedented attack against crooked Joe Biden's presidential opponent, banana republic style. There is absolutely no reason to rush this witch hunt to trial except to injure President Trump and his 150 million at-least supporters. Trump is claiming that his supporter numbers are now about the number of people total that voted in the 2020 election. Where else could he be pulling this 150 million number from? I don't know. He is a few million off the entire population of Russia. Maybe he was looking that up recently and got confused about, population sizes. President Trump will continue to fight for justice and oppose these authoritarian tactics. And as I said previously, this was after the Supreme Court was asked, but just before it came out that the Supreme Court did agree to hear it. So all of this yelling into the void here was for literally nothing at all.